Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you, and thanks to the cherished listeners and viewers.
Thanks for your time too. We are grateful. Now, government is engaging all stakeholders before implementation of this e-levy. Is it not too early to think you have been left out?
Right. I mean, the policy, came to the attention of the general public. We are in the third month now, and so I don't know the extension of time that the policymakers would want before probably considering engaging us. I think they've had enough grace period. They had enough time that, it should be enough for them to extend an invitation so that we can also have our input on the whole, policy that has generated so much of a public outcry.
Your concern is that the implementation of this e-levy will render you and your people jobless. The e-levy, as being proposed by the government, is to raise more revenue for development. How will this render you jobless? Can you please explain to us?
Right. Let me begin by having this scenario. In every business environment, definitely you are going to have the producer and then the consumer. And every consumer is always very, cautious of the price that he or she may be subjected to. Then again, we all are aware that we have an existing charges that anyone who transacts using the mobile money services need to pay. And even with this, they are complaining. And so for us to add an additional 1.75% on it, it means that the burden that we are passing on to the consumer, it is something that is very critical for the survival of the whole service. When the consumer feels, threatened in terms of the pricing, as a rational being, I will try to run away from the usage of the mobile money services. And when that happens, we exist as a result of, the customer or the one who will be patronizing our service. So in the absence of the one patronizing our service, then automatically we are also going to be affected, and that means we'll be kicked out of business. We have a scenario where government introduced the mobile money interoperability 3 years down the line. At the point of introduction, the charges that was placed on it was 1.5%. Now, this is what happened. 8 months after its introduction, the transaction was recorded to be 5.1 million at a monetary value of 786 million Ghana cedis. That put aside last year, 2021, the Bank of Ghana took a bold step to reduce the rate from 1.5% to 1%. And this is what happened. Transaction rose from 5.1 million to 12.1 million. The indication over here is that there has been over 120% increase in the usage of mobile money using the interoperability platform. That value also amounted to 2.3 billion Ghana cedis. So from the illustration, it means that at the point where the rate was high, consumption was somehow very low. When the price was reduced to 1%, consumption rose to, 12.1 million. So this gives a clear indication that every consumer is always careful with the price. Every consumer is always very sensitive with pricing. And so with this clear, experience that it wasn't long ago, it gives you a clear indication that, the consumer will be running away from the usage of the mobile money services simply because they feel that the price or the cost involving using the mobile money platform or service will be so exorbitant, and so they will no more use the service again. And definitely there's going to be a replica effect on we as mobile money agents also.
Very well. So what is the point? Is it that you are calling for a reduction in the percentage, or you are calling for a scrap of the bill itself?
Now, judging from my submission, we already have having an existing charges already, and customers are complaining. So we don't foresee, government still holding on to the 1.5%. 1.75%. So our position is that government should scrap the levy off, because let's assume that we don't, since the policy has been announced, government has never engaged the Mobile Money Agents Association of Ghana. So, I mean, we don't even know anything about the whole policy. The only thing that we know is that government wants to introduce 1.75% on the industry, and that is what we are saying that is very critical. Probably government has given us the audience and matters really dealt with or matters really explained. I am sure that we might, even though we may not accept the 1.75% levy, there's a possibility that when the extreme happens, we may find a way of aligning ourselves to it. I mean, you can bring the policy all right, but implementation is another challenge or another issue that you'll be facing. And we are only waiting patiently. Government should still, keep to the adamant position. We are private investors. We own our own capital, and we decide when to go to work and when not to go to work. And so if government will say use us as an instrument to, leverage on for the collection or for generating this levy, and as at this time, you have not seen the need to engage the very people who will be implementing the policy, then, I mean, we have a lot to experience going forward. Should the policy be passed?
Thank you very much, sir.